Okay, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next super stock live stream for today, August 21st. We have once again back with us our next super stock, or actually it's already a super stock. It's NexTech AR Solutions. Stock symbol, of course, is NEXCF over the counter, NTAR on the CSE. We're joined by Evan Gappelberg, the CEO, Paul Duffy, the president. We got a lot of exciting things to talk about today. I'm glad everybody's here. Anybody that's new to our program, our goal with the next Super Stock live stream series is to bring you companies which have 10x to 100x upside potential. So these are companies which are undergoing transformational growth. They have multiple catalysts in place for creating that massive shareholder value. We've seen that with NexTech. Stock was 50 cents when they first debuted last August. It's actually just exactly a year ago this week. Stock was 50 cents then. It hit a high recently of $7 and change. Today it's in the, what is it? We're $4.50, $5 today. It's hard to keep track. Looks like there's a lot of great things happening. So with that said, I'm going to introduce Evan. And remember, we're going to open up for Q&A. We're going to have a lot of questions. We have already over 50 questions that came in before we started. So we'll start with those and we'll go to live. So I'm going to turn it over to Evan. Evan, take it away.
Sure. Thanks, Jack. Great to be back. Just want to review a bit about what's recently happened. We are in the end of August. We just closed on a $13.2 million prospectus offering. I want to take a moment to highlight the fact that a prospectus offering is not like, it's very unlike all of the previous offerings that NexTech did. One, the size, 13.2 million is significantly bigger in terms of the size of the capital raise than we've done previously. And most importantly, when you do a prospectus offering, you have to get approval from an army of lawyers at Mackey Research. That was our investment banking firm that underwrote this offering. And the BCSE has to approve our prospectus. Everything is checked and double checked. And so it's a big step up from a standpoint of due diligence. And as the company continues to step up, and as we go for our NASDAQ listing, which is in motion, we continue to come under the spotlight and be scrutinized. Our business gets looked at, our contracts get looked at, everything we're doing gets looked at. And so it's just an important piece of the puzzle for everybody to understand that, as we move up the ladder, the amount of due diligence increases from lawyers and regulators, and we're being given the green light every time we step up. And so it's very gratifying to be able to go from doing private placements to now doing a prospectus offering. It's also gratifying that we raised 13.2 million by selling just roughly 2 million shares at $6.50. To put that into perspective, earlier this year, just a couple of months ago in June, we raised $3 million by selling 1.5 million shares. So, we went from 1.5 million shares to 2 million shares, and we went from raising 3 million to raising 13.2 million. Huge, huge benefit to our shareholders. We continue to work on raising capital expeditiously, not raising capital, just in a way that's going to dilute our shareholders. We're trying to protect our shareholders from dilution, and this capital really is growth capital. It's important that everybody understand that our capital is being raised so that we can lever up and generate more revenue in 2020 and beyond. If you look at our e-commerce division, it's something we haven't spoken about too much, but recently we did announce that we've added a lot more brands to our portfolio, And the reason is that e-commerce is exploding. According to Statista, global e-commerce sales are going to top $4 trillion in 2020 and reach $6.5 trillion by 2023. These are not insignificant numbers. More than 2 billion shoppers are going to purchase goods online. Everything we're seeing in e-commerce is unprecedented. Growth rates are surpassing anything that we've seen since before the Great Recession. E-commerce has just become an enormous, enormous growth industry, and we have an e-com division that's doing very, very well. If you look at our virtual events business and video conferencing, it's another business that is doing very, very well. And I think it's important for everybody to understand that virtual conferences was here before the pandemic. However, when the pandemic hit, the business exploded. It just went vertical. And so after the pandemic, virtual events are going to continue to play a major role in event strategies because they're very budget friendly. They cost about 1/10 of an actual live event. And so you end up getting a very high ROI. You also get a dynamic attendee experience. You're able to use AI and track the movement of people from screen to screen. You can't do that at a live event. And so there's a tremendous amount of data that you're getting from our Inferno AR, not to mention the augmented reality experience that we're bringing. And by the way, our screen AR is doing very, very well. As everybody knows, we just launched that about a month ago, and it's already receiving a tremendous amount of orders, and we're just trying to really just keep up. So it's an exciting time for us as a company. Those two businesses are really doing extraordinarily well in this pandemic environment that we're in. And we think they're going to continue to do well as time goes on. And obviously, augmented reality is another area that is growing very, very rapidly. So spatial computing, the future is here now. And it really is here now. It came faster than expected. Augmented reality and artificial intelligence, they're merged, and they're now transforming our world into a 3D spatial computing wonderland. Why is NexTech in a great position? We have multiple business segments, as I just mentioned, that are benefiting from this new work from home, shop from home paradigm shift that employers, businesses, and governments have instituted due to COVID. Our preliminary Q2 numbers, we're going to actually release our actual Q2 numbers August 25th, which is Tuesday, but we pre-released that our revenue grew 133% to 3.5 million year over year. Gross profit up 171% to 2.1 million with a 60% margin. Cash at that time was around 8 million. It's now ballooned with our new financing to 20. Credit facility from the Royal Bank of Canada. On July 2nd, we applied for uplist to NASDAQ. We have received a reply from NASDAQ. And the way it works is that they reply to our application. They ask for additional information. It's very standard. This is a process. We're replying to them. They get to look at our information, and then they come back to us. And just to speak to NASDAQ for a second, the last piece of the puzzle for us is one additional independent director. We have that person already selected. We're in the process of getting that person onto the board. One of the things that has to happen before that happens is we have to have our AGM, which will happen by the end of this month. So everybody can expect that in very early September, we have our new independent board member, which gives us everything we need to be able to be approved for the NASDAQ, which I know is on everybody's minds, and no more than it's on my mind, believe me. So that's a focus for us, and that's in motion. Inferno AR, virtual events, that business has just taken off like a rocket. And Paul Duffy is going to be demoing our new technology and talking. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening there in a minute. I've been purchasing shares. I wrote a check for $175,000 just about a month ago. And again, AR is right smack in the middle of this shop from home paradigm shift. And if you look at Apple Computer, they're fully committed to AR. Apple has become the most valuable company on the planet, and I think it's now in their market cap is in excess of $2 trillion. So when Apple comes into an industry, it does mean something. And Tim Cook, Apple CEO, believes that augmented reality is going to change the way we use technology forever. And it's going to transform the way we work, play, connect, and learn. It's in motion. Apple is pushing augmented reality. Tim Cook says, I think AR is going to be huge. We agree. And we're in the same market. We're not competing with Apple. We're leveraging Apple's technology and using it to the benefit of our shareholders. The glasses we expect to come out in the next 12 to 24 months. And when that happens, the world will stop turning for a second. And it'll be a very, very exciting day in the history of augmented reality. If you look at our business, it's accelerating. Here's a sampling of new client wins, really in the last couple of months. They're big names. These are not small companies. There's a lot more behind these big names, but this is a sample. And it's continuing to grow very, very rapidly. The Jalokia platform generated about $1 million in revenue for 2019. Going forward, we see that number ballooning. With Zoom, if you look at their price to sales ratio, it's around 70x. NexTech's around 20x, possibly even less. We are uniquely positioned to see our business benefit from the stay-at-home paradigm shift. E-commerce, augmented reality, video conferencing, virtual events business units. It's all part of this digital transformation that's taking place globally, and it's creating more business opportunities for NexTech, especially in the video conferencing, virtual learning, virtual conferences, and e-commerce than ever before. And when I say ever before, not just for NexTech, that's in history. Never before in history has there been more opportunity for companies with the product offerings that we have, which is really exciting for us. This is the CEO of Microsoft on his recent quarterly earnings report. We've seen 2 years worth of digital transformation in 2 months. 2 years compressed into 2 months. That's the state of business that we're in. It's this great acceleration that's happening in this world of technology. And again, NexTech is very much a part of that. 2 main business segments for us: software and e-commerce. On our software side, we have Inferno AR, we have ARC 2020, which is augmented reality conferences. Paul is going to reveal that today. AR University and ARitize 360, our capture app. On the e-com side, we started out really with Mila. We've just recently announced, last week, that in the last 60 days, We've brought on Dyson, Mr. Coffee, Cuisinart, Vitamix, Beneco, Philips, Norelco, Metrovac, Breville, and we're bringing more. We are now fully scaling our e-commerce division, and adding that augmented reality component really gives us a competitive edge. But the main story there is that e-com is growing very, very rapidly. And here's a chart which speaks to the growth. The US e-commerce penetration, 10 years of growth in 3 months. Let me say that again. 10 years of growth in 3 months. It's gone parabolic. It's not us. It's not, we just happen to be in the right place at the right time. That's the NexTech story. The Overstock CEO comments. I'm just going to read his Q2 comments. Second quarter gross sales in Overstock. Just take a look at their stock. It's gone up over 1,000%. Same thing with Wayfair. Second quarter gross sales for Overstock's retail business more than doubled year over year. The number of new customers more than tripled year over year. And their customers are, buying their core products from the safety of their home. From Wayfair, Q2 orders delivered in the quarter, 18.9 million, an increase of 106%. Net revenue, $2 billion. It went from 2 billion to 4.3, up 83%. These are big numbers from big companies that they're growing as if, they're a startup. I mean, those are the kind of numbers that we're putting up. We are, kind of the startup within this group. We're the small cap player within this group, but we're aggressively building our product offerings out so that we can compete on a global scale, and we could start to put up impressive numbers like you're seeing here. So strong recurring revenue for NexTech. Q2, we spoke about our revenue growing 133%, gross profit up 171%. In the fourth quarter of 2019, we showed over a 4,000% increase in our revenue. We're targeting 300% growth in 2020. Gross margins, we're looking to expand. If you look into 2021, those numbers were based on, if you look at the numbers on the screen here, we did 6 million in 2019. And then in 2020, we're estimating 20 million, in 2021, 40 million. The reality is that those numbers that you see for our estimates really don't include a lot of what we're talking about today. Those estimates were based on where we were at the beginning of the year. So stay tuned for those numbers going up. This is our screen AR, which we've shown before, but I can't get enough of it personally, so I'm going to show it again. I just love it. It has a lot of applications, not just for trade shows. Obviously, there's ed tech. You can imagine a learning experience for kids in school. And I'm going to let the video do the talking here. Just super cool technology. NexTech's clients keeps growing and growing and growing. It's just a sampling. Um, why own NexTech? Only pure play small cap AR video virtual conference investment plus e-commerce. First mover advantage in the growing AR market. Revenue is scaling up 300% is our estimate for 2020. Well capitalized with 20 million, tight capital structure, friendly long-term investors, very diversified business in really the fastest growing segments of business, the businesses that are benefiting from this digital transformation and from the pandemic, e-commerce, augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D ads, video and virtual conferences with AR, expert management and board members with high insider ownership, and really an experienced team of entrepreneurs. It was kind of a snapshot of management, myself, an expert in creating and running hyper-growth startups like NexTech. I did take Take-Two Interactive Software public, symbols TTWO, now has over a $15 billion market cap. And last exit before NexTech was a 20x return in 18 months. Paul Duffy's president, creator of the human hologram, his patented holographic telepresence over the internet. He's a serial entrepreneur, over 25 years of experience. And Kashif Malik, our CFO, formerly from Deloitte. He was at Merck before that, and Real Matters before that. Ori now has moved from our advisory board to our board of directors. And he's, you can look him up as well, founder of augmentedreality.org. And he famously sold his company to Apple, which is now part of their AR kit. Mike Boland from Artillery, and Scott Starr from Live Person. Here's our stock chart, kind of showing the progression. You could see, the beginning of the year. You could see where we were during the pandemic, and then, where we are now. And that's pretty much it for me. I'm going to now stop sharing, and I'm going to talk for a minute to Paul Duffy. Paul's president of NexTech, as everybody knows, but he also runs our sales division. And he's on the front line presenting, demoing, closing deals. And I just want to get a sense from you, Paul, on how it's going. How's business?
Going very well. Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, as you know, we are blitz scaling right now. Really what that means is we've got a full-throated attack on inbound leads, outbound leads, coming into us. We've got a great team of seasoned hunters and closers, account executives. Our funnel is growing very richly. I think since the last time I presented our Inferno platform for conferences, we've booked well over 20 events. And I think that was just over a period of 2 or 3 weeks. The funnel is significantly beyond that. We've actually developed the next iteration of the platform based on the several thousand attendees who've actually gone through those events. And so I thought I'd take a little time today to kind of show that to you. Yeah. Because what we're noticing is that these are not one and done engagements. It is very clear, to your earlier point about the compression in the adoption of technologies over such a brief window, given the new reality of COVID. We're seeing that firsthand. What would traditionally be a pilot project for 25 to 50 grand quickly moves into an enterprise discussion that transcends multi-years, mostly because what we're able to do with our platform is track, manage, and measure the consumption of an attendee at an event. And in the world of digital marketing, it's all about tracking and converting the quality of a lead to a paying customer. And so we've discovered that these events are the perfect marketing channel with which to use that level of analytic. And once we present that to our clients, they realize quickly it's a strategic technology for them to invest in and scale. So let me just take you through a little bit of that if you're okay with it, and we'll just pinball back and forth on some questions.
Sure, sure,
Great.
absolutely.
So let me just share my screen here. You seeing this okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we introduced this a few weeks back. You know, I won't torture everybody with another walkthrough, but this is actually what we have been selling in the market up until about 2 weeks ago when we released the next iteration on this. Very scalable event platform as a service, no real limitation on the number of events, people, or time frame that you can pull this together with. So it's very functional. Of course, you've got lobbies, you've got the ability to integrate all the augmented reality, which, you know, as you had mentioned earlier, the screen AR is a phenomenal experience for folks. But the ability to actually lift and pull the booth out of the actual screen itself, another big winner. People love this idea of the 360-degree portal, the opportunity to place the door, walk through it, and actually walk around, in this case, a boat, and see lobsters being literally packaged up and shipped to them. And we also have the ability, as you've seen with live broadcast, to do all of this. So it's worked out incredibly well. What we've done is we've taken all that feedback and we reimagined this event platform as a service, packaged it, brought it out to our existing customer base, and actually had them inform us on what the ideal state would be for the product. What would be the ultimate product market fit for them? And this is what ARC 2020 is. And I can tell you the sales cycle for this product is phenomenal. It's at the point where we show it once or twice, and we're moving quickly into negotiations and agreements. And so on, very similar to AV 2020, you log in, you get a vanity URL. This is actually an envisioned prototype that I'm walking you through. It's fully functional. And you're able to basically create an account. And now when you log in, you get a full experience, much like you would on a branded website. You basically have your hero image. You've got the ability to utilize all of the augmented reality technology through the phone, simply point it at the screen, pull up the experience, or if it's screen AR, point it here, get an introductory presentation from a keynote speaker. The schedules themselves are available throughout the entire platform. And then all the existing features have all been iteratively improved. So featured booths, exhibition halls, branded auditoriums, the ability to open up workshops, speakers. We now have a full speaker lounge where if you're a presenter, a keynote, or a panelist, you can literally go to your own green room, meet with one of the producers of the show, prep yourself, and then go live. So it's a great advancement for those that are doing a lot of live events. Intra-company events particularly love that feature because oftentimes it's executives talking to staff globally, and having the ability to prep minutes before is pretty handy. We've also integrated leadership boards, gamification, and taken back all the feedback from the last several months of events and really packaged that into a super tight offering. And then, of course, media, press, and support. And so, Evan, we've been able to basically take everything we've been working on, iterate it yet again, push it out into the market, and we're well through the idea of automating the literally the launching of an event. So we can do more quicker at less cost, higher margin.
Right, right. So, you know, it's very, very interesting. If you think about what Paul's talking about, right now, we're delivering events based on the previous demonstration that Paul made of our platform,
AV 2020.
AV 2020. And today, just a few short weeks later, what we're demonstrating right now is the future that we're going to be delivering to customers in the next 30 days, would you say, Paul?
Yeah, we're actually, I'm going to show you one we're working on with the government of Canada right now.
Yeah.
We're expecting this product now to go into all the events from October 1st forward. We've picked a handful for existing customers to do their events in September in this as the first rollout. But this is a completely transformative experience, not just for the attendee, but for those that are producing events. We've greatly simplified their ability to onboard, to design, and then to deliver a very meaningful event because we're using the machine learning. Remember, with Inferno, we've had well over 10 million registered attendees through this platform. It's enterprise class. It runs in 100 different countries. We're running it in multiple languages. And so that data set is informing our designers with how to best create a user experience for an attendee. So this iteration is that sort of instantiation of all that information in one package. And so, when you're going through even things like exhibit booths, we've actually challenged our teams to rethink what an exhibit booth looks like. I'll show you what we've done with the Lobster Council of Canada, just in contrast to the way theirs works. But even things like networking lounges, we built out an entire tool set to rapidly create networking lounges. We're finding that in events, the traffic that we're seeing from the registered user is giving the event, I'll call it management group, the ability to create networking lounges in real time based on what attendees are saying, what they're looking at, what they're giving feedback on. And this is great because you can literally package a meaningful networking lounge just based on what's trending within the zeitgeist of the audience that's attending the event. Very powerful feature. I don't know a client. We don't have one client yet who isn't using that feature. It's phenomenal. Networking lounges, video and text. Text we found works very well when English is a second language, or if we're delivering in Hispanic, a Spanish language event, they're actually messaging and using English back and forth. It's quite interesting to see. So it's a good dynamic.
I think the future for events and it's a better way for interactivity, human to human, be able to download massive amounts of information, order online. It's frictionless. You do it from home. You don't have to get onto a plane and travel and not see your family, for a week. So that's kind of the takeaway for me. It's not just one and done. It's once our customers are seeing the benefits of the platform and the fact that it's scalable and it's affordable, it's kind of a no-brainer. And with that, Jack, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I guess we could probably move to Q&A now. I think.
Absolutely.
Well, great job with the demo. Thank you, Paul.
A lot of questions coming in here. One thing, watching the demo, I just realized that the real catalyst for the growth of the explosion of the AR is going to be the glasses. As soon as the glasses come in, it's going to be just like what happened with e-commerce and COVID. Just like COVID, catapulted e-commerce. We're going to have the same thing happen with AR once Apple and everybody else makes these glasses. Okay, so let's jump into the questions. Okay, so we get a question here. With a lot of companies getting into AR, what is NexTech doing to stay at the forefront?
Well, we continue to innovate. Look at Screen AR. That's an innovation. That's something that we do that no one else does. We're still working hard on full volumetric capture of humans. We have some new augmented reality technology, which we're going to be rolling out shortly for our e-commerce division. It's, this genie in the bottle concept. So we're working very, very hard on continuing to push the envelope of what's possible in the world of AR, and we continue to put that into the market. So it's really just about putting the pedal to the metal and continuing to innovate.
Okay. How many institutional investors does NexTech currently have, and how many shares are held by them?
So that's an interesting question. We don't have any traditional institutional investors. I think we have some family offices that are invested in NexTech, but we don't have like the Fidelities of the world or the Vanguards of the world in our stock. I would assume that when we get to, right. When we get to NASDAQ, there could be an opportunity there, but currently there aren't any.
Okay. Can you share if the demand for your products are outpacing your ability to staff and supply? Thanks, Evan. Love everything you're doing.
So it's kind of this push and
Carl.
pull. Yeah, it's this push and pull. When we acquired the Jalokia platform, it came with 10 employees. We've hired another 15, so that now has 25. That doesn't include, that's all on the delivery side. That's all on the production and delivery. Um, that doesn't include the sales and marketing, which is a separate group. But we're continuing to hire to meet the demand. The capital that we just raised is so that we can continue to hire to meet the demand. In addition, to be able to make acquisitions opportunistically.
Okay. How and where are you advertising to increase Inferno AR exposure to colleges and universities?
We have multiple resources that we're using for colleges and to get into the ed tech market. So we're using every channel available to us, be it social media, be it Google AdWords, be it Zoom Info. There's a lot of resources available, and we're using all of them.
Okay. Cyber Tycoon is asking, could you outline the most likely timeline for next 2 to 3 weeks for us, please?
The most likely timeline.
Let's know what's happening in the next 2, 3 weeks. Flow.
Wait a minute.
What happened to 2, 3 months? Everybody wants to know.
Where's my crystal ball? He wants me to predict the future. Is that it? What's the future? Future's bright. The future is very bright. I'm blinded. It's so bright.
I could tell you it'd be very busy.
Yeah, it's going to be very busy. For us, it's about closing deals. And so, the next couple of weeks, and really, for the foreseeable future, it's really about just closing more and more business and continuing to hire and continuing to push for our NASDAQ uplisting. So that's really the primary focus.
Okay, we got a couple of interesting questions. Some deep Bray, looks like. What are the main drivers for multiple expansion from 20x sales, and what is the single most important factor to set this in motion?
So there's a number of drivers. It's not one thing. Our ability to create a self-serve platform with Inferno AR is certainly a major piece of that that ability to scale. So right now we're building out these events, but in the short term, meaning we think possibly before the end of this year, if not Q1 2021, we'll be able to have event organizers log in and load their own content onto the platform, which will greatly increase the ability for us to scale. So that's a main driver, and that's in motion now. We're building that out. I would also say that our 3D AR ad network is going to be a big driver of future revenue, and also our e-commerce and our augmented reality within those businesses as well.
Okay. He's also asking any update on additional EdTech contracts?
We will update you. We will update everybody. We'll come out with news when appropriate.
Okay. Follow-up question is, will NexTech be included? Any chance that NexTech will be included in the new work from home ETF? WFM is the symbol.
Always a chance. There's always a chance. We are aware of it. As soon as we get onto NASDAQ, we will apply.
Okay, we got a question about the warrants from new financing. How will those warrants trade?
Those warrants are not trading. The stock has to close above $11 for I think it's 15 consecutive trading days, and then I could call those $8 warrants. There's only 1 million of them, right? We issued roughly 2 million shares at 650 with a half a warrant. So there's like 1 million warrants at $8. If the stock goes over 11, we can call them, and that would bring in another $8 million into our coffers. So they don't trade though as a separate symbol.
Okay. Home Run Man Dan is asking, with the bevy of new accounts we've secured in the past 2 weeks, is there any chance that the previous earnings forecast will come in much higher?
Absolutely. I would say that the risk is to the upside right now with our business, the way that the deals are coming in and the way that the revenue is flowing from our multiple business segments. I would say that the risk is to the upside.
Okay, here, interesting question here. With e-commerce sales at all-time highs and probably increasing because of COVID, why do e-commerce companies need NexTech's AR solutions? Will these e-commerce businesses become complacent?
No. So while it's true that sales are going through the roof and at all-time highs, everybody's always looking for a competitive advantage. So, the whole complex of e-commerce is going up together, but the competition is still fierce, right? And so augmented reality gives you a competitive edge. If we're selling vacuum cleaners, Mila vacuum cleaners, and there's another site selling Mila vacuum cleaners or whatever the product is, and we have the augmented reality experience and they don't, who are you going to buy from? That's really the story, is that it gives you a competitive edge in the market. And so augmented reality is going to continue to play a role in e-commerce. It's not just, hey, let the good times roll and sit back and we don't need to do anything. We don't need to innovate. I'm talking about an e-com site. They always need to be looking for a competitive edge, even in a bull market.
Okay. John is asking, what are the plans for the funding you just received?
We're going to invest in the business. We're going to use every dollar that we've raised, we're going to try and turn into $4 or $5 or even more. So we're gonna take that money and invest it into the business so that we can generate more shareholder value.
Okay. We got a couple of people asking about the NASDAQ process. They're asking, is the symbol going to stay the same, and will the stock be halted again?
We hope there'll be no more halts. We hate halts as much as you guys do. And I'm not planning on any additional halts. I don't believe that the stock necessarily is halted if you uplist to NASDAQ, although I don't think anyone would get upset if we said, halt, we're uplisting, we're approved. Nobody, I don't think anybody would be upset with that, but I don't believe that that's actually a requirement. So we don't anticipate any additional halts.
Okay, we got a question. Why haven't Carnegie Mellon and the South Florida universities been announced via press releases yet?
So as I've said numerous times, while we would like to announce every single deal that we sign, and we try, we put out a lot of press releases, everybody knows that our partners, meaning our customers, don't always have the same schedule or the same desire to publicly announce. And just to be crystal clear, in past press releases, we put out announcements where the client, our customer, said, we don't want our name in the press release. You can't use our name. We don't want the terms of the deal. So I put out a press release, no name, no terms. So what do you think happens? I get a phone call, people saying, hey, you can't not put the name, you can't not put the terms. And so You know, we're walking a fine line, trying to be compliant with the regulators, so that when we do put out a press release, it has full disclosure. That means the name of the customer, the terms of the deal, and so if the customer doesn't sign on for that, we don't put out a press release. And so it doesn't mean that they don't like us. It doesn't mean that. It just means that they have an internal policy. And so we have to work with them. And sometimes it takes weeks for them to finally say, okay, approved. Sometimes it takes months. Sometimes they say no. If they say yes, we put it out.
Okay. Sims is saying, Evan, happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
We get an interesting idea from A Plus saying, what about making 3D holograms of pets? If a pet dies, then the person can take their dog for a walk on a hologram.
I love it. I love it. I mean, first of all, we have a pet supplement business, and so it would play really well into that. You know, to create the 3D hologram for the pet, it's no different than creating a human hologram. And so right now, you need a green screen to record. You know, the pet would have to sit pretty still. But I think what's happening is new technology, and this is part of our innovation labs. And there's new technology out, new iPad with LiDAR, the new phones with 3 cameras that allow for volumetric capture. We're experimenting with all that. Once the technology arrives, we will definitely have the capability for you to scan your dog and be able to take it for a walk. But I don't believe right now that that's a simple thing to do.
Okay,
So stay tuned.
We've got a couple of interesting questions from Thicket Man. Are your recently hired sales associates meeting or exceeding their monthly 100K quotas?
They either meet, exceed, or they're fired. It's that simple. You know, so Paul can speak to that.
Second place is steak knives, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And he's also asking, how much production are you expecting? I guess how much revenue? He's basically asking how much increase in revenue are you expecting from the new the increased warehouse facility that you have for the e-com business, 20,000 square foot warehouse.
Yeah. We just moved, and we're expecting significant increases in business from our e-commerce division in Q4 this year. The numbers should be pretty eye-popping, and I think in 2021 things are going to get even more exciting. We're launching new products, as everybody knows. We're also developing our own brands, which we have not really spoken much about yet. But there's a lot of development in our e-commerce division, and that 20,000 square foot warehouse is going to be a big part of our growth in Q4 and in 2021 and beyond. And as I've mentioned before, we have a whole green screen studio there, and we're creating AR experiences there. And we have some really cool tech that we're going to be launching shortly, and we're going to be announcing shortly. I'm super excited about.
Okay. Next question he's asking is, are you expecting any difference between the preliminary numbers released and the final numbers being released, the final numbers, Q2 numbers released next week?
So no, traditionally, if you pre-release, it's because you feel pretty good about your numbers. Otherwise, you're not going to do that. So the numbers will be announced on Tuesday. We will have a conference call after the market, and we're not expecting much variation.
Can you elaborate on the partnership with Bell and TELUS?
Mhm.
Well, Paul, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So Bell, great company, both of them, obviously. One is specifically on intra-company events, which is an amazing opportunity. So in other words, events, but done by the company for the company. And those run right across Canada.
That's
Those will
Bell.
continue to grow. Yeah, yeah. And TELUS is, we're in a fairly tight lockdown on what we can describe what we're doing there because it's incredibly innovative. But they are, basically utilizing AR and events for all forms of what I would say customer engagement, both at support as well as purchase. And it's super innovative. When they release it and go public with it, I think it's going to be quite an exciting thing for us to demonstrate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your biggest priority for the 13.2 million you just received?
To as I mentioned earlier, to leverage it into significant revenues, right? So we raise money. We're not just going to sit on the capital. The capital is going to be deployed again to hire talented personnel, and stay tuned because we have something pretty significant coming there. And we're also going to be using it to make selective and opportunistic acquisitions. So that capital is going to give us, our ability to scale up just went up dramatically.
Okay. Any update on European operations?
Just lots of great,
Yeah.
great things happening, and we put out press releases as we can. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay. How large is your R&D team? Can you further explain your innovation lab?
So the innovation lab is composed of our creative. So we have I would say the innovation labs, and let's just be clear, they're not dedicated towards innovation, meaning, if we were a company of 1,000 people, maybe we'd have dedicated employees that just do innovation. So currently, I'm on the innovation team. Paul, Dawson, Bryn, Tim, Justin, Rob. It's like seven, I'd say 6 or 7
Yeah.
of us are on that team.
Okay. Is the ad network, the 3D ad network, currently live, or is it starting in Q4? Will the ads in Q4 be for branded products you are distributing or for advertisers in general?
So the ad network is live. We've had a couple of customers and use cases. We will be using it in Q4, and we expect to have customers in market using it as well.
Okay, AR glasses. Question here. Are you getting any customers from the CES cancellation?
Not sure about that. I don't know.
Let's just say we're talking to a number of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is an e-com deal with Shopify in the works?
So we already are aligned with Shopify. We don't have anything new to announce other than our tech works on their platform. So if you're a Shopify store and you want to use NexTech's augmented reality web AR, it's a seamless integration that's already happened. So there's no new programming or anything that needs to occur. So we're already integrated with Shopify.
Okay. Emil is asking, Real Fiction Echo Project, AR without glasses. Have you heard of this?
AR without glasses? I mean, that's what we do now. We use the phone. Right?
Is there any other way of getting the AR besides the phone and the glasses?
I've heard contact lenses are coming.
About it.
Yeah. You need something.
Okay. Armand is saying he saw a Virgin Galactic AR app. Is that from NexTech?
No.
Is the Genie in a Box your own hardware device or is it software?
It's software, and Genie in the Bottle, Genie in the Box. It's built on the back of our ARitize app.
Okay. Let's see. I think we're pretty much run out of questions. A lot of mostly repeats here. Okay. I guess that's it. All right. Guys, I want to thank you again, Evan, Paul, and thank you everybody in our audience for joining us once again. We'll see you back in the next live stream, probably first week of September.
Excellent. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Enjoy the weekend.